champagne is all about. Pop and spritz. Why else do you drink champagne if not for the pop and the spritz?
Welcome to episode 58 of the Columbo podcast, where we're trying to work out which of us is pop and which is spritz.
What about snap and crackle?
There's three of them, isn't there?
Yeah, and pop that you just mentioned.
Yeah, there's only two of us.
Well, we need to get extra people to make the whole gang.
A three-hander.
That'd make an interesting serial, wouldn't it? Snap, crackle, pop and spritz.
Let's just crack on with this week's episode, I think, Ian.
It's probably a better idea.
How are you?
Not too bad. Relaxed.
Good.
Yeah.
General thoughts on this?
I thought it was decent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love the killer, but I didn't hate him. Like some.
I think I'm more fond of him than you are.
Perhaps.
We're a bit later tonight. I'm feeling a little bit tired.
Are you?
Yeah, and I've still got to face the gym.
Oh dear. I never do that, so I don't need to worry about that one.
So, with that in mind, do you fancy steaming ahead and getting the show on the road?
Sure. I'm not deliberately speaking slowly now, but it's an idea.
Summary.
In Columbo and the Murder of a Rock Star, an unbeatable trial lawyer looks to get away with framing his partner's lover for her murder. Hugh Crichton, a man of some substantial reputation, has discovered his partner Marcy's affair and looks to end their relationship. Marcy, a former rock star, is fine with that, but wants a financial settlement equivalent to what she would have been entitled to if they had been married. She backs up her demands with the threat of blackmail, and Crichton's response is to murder her. Columbo's work is hampered by Crichton's connections in high places, and when a speeding ticket appears to place him 50 miles from the scene of the crime, it seems the lieutenant's case is fatally flawed. With one last line of inquiry to pursue, can Columbo break the alibi, or will he need to put a cork in his investigation?
Thank you, Ian. A very nice summary there.
Oh.
We start with a very 80s sounding female rock soundtrack.
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
It was a unique song that Columbo seemed to know the words to.
Yeah. It wasn't hugely enjoyable listening to Columbo recite these romantic lyrics.
Yeah, romantic's one word.
What were the lines? Can you remember?
I can't remember, I didn't write them down.
Kiss me, come to me. Something along those lines.
I can tell you the name of the song because it'll be at the end of my notes from the closing credits. Hang on. Closer, closer, your lips to mine. And then something about making love to me all the time, or something like that. But it certainly seemed to be a favourite of his.
Certainly of his nephews, it was absolute garbage. So we have an establishing shot of a beach house, and we see a motorbike and a Rolls Royce as the camera enters the house, and we pan across lots of gold discs.
And I think at least one platinum disc in there.
Awards. It is obviously the house of a successful musician.
Yes, or at least a one-time successful musician. The credits are rolling at this point. There's at least one notable name comes up.
Yes. Which is?
The well-known music
Fine Young Cannibals?
star from the Fine Young Cannibals. Cannibals? Cannibals. Huey. No. It's Little Richard.
Yes. We'll get to him, no doubt. We'll have a good chat about his cameo appearance.
No doubt.
Are you a fan, anyway, of Little Richard?
Not that I'm aware of. It could be there's songs of his I like and I don't know they're his.
Yeah.
What's he famous for?
Oh, Tutti Frutti.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was him.
Oh, lots of songs.
Yeah.
Good Golly Miss Molly.
Yeah, another good one.
A rock and roll legend.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got some good tracks there. Potential.
The kid has obvious talent. He'll go places.
I'm sure.
Unfortunately, to the grave is probably next place he's going at the age of 80.
Is he 80 now?
Or maybe even older, 83 years. I don't know. Yeah, he's in his 80s.
Oh well. Still touring?
Don't know. I no longer follow him on Twitter. So yeah, we're at this beach house, and after we establish that it's a musician's house, we see a young couple.
This is brilliant. I love this. Not the fact that you see this young couple necessarily, but the fact that they are in bed together listening to her music.
Yeah, that would be all. That is the equivalent. Right now, I'm not going to ask you if you've ever tried this before, but trying to have a romantic night with the Columbo podcast playing in the background.
I can see why folk might do that. I bet you lots of our listeners do that.
Oh, I'm sure most of them do. We've asked before, how do you normally listen? Are you out jogging? Are you doing the dishes? Are you driving?
Every one of those was a euphemism.
Yep.
There's a camera recording them from the air vent above, ominously, and we get a nice little bit of direction here where you go from them in the room, to the camera, to the people watching the recording.
Yes, it's not live, obviously.
Yeah, although it was when we joined them.
Yeah. Who is watching this young couple? We say young, I mean they're in their 30s, at least.
Sure, that is the partner of the woman and his private eye.
Yes. We come to know the partner as Hugh Crichton. He's a massively successful, probably the world's most famous criminal
Defence lawyer, yeah.
Yeah.
Did the scene remind you of another episode?
No doubt it will when you remind me.
Death lends a hand with the report on the cheating wife.
Yes. So Hugh is in with the PI, who's a pastiche, isn't he? Of
Yeah, he's a caricature of a PI, isn't he? You can imagine, the rain beating down on his window as he reads the newspaper.
yeah, as a glamorous moll walks in, sipping his
Exactly.
whiskey.
It's important for Crichton here that he has the only copies of the tape and of the report because he doesn't want them to fall into anybody else's hands. It would be an embarrassment for him.
Certainly would. The PI also confirms the days and times when this couple met up.
Yeah, and in his report he's been tracking them for some time, and it seems to be a regular rotation. I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoons.
We see Hugh destroy the copy of the tape, and he also destroys the notes that the private eye has provided.
Shreds them.
And we go to Hugh's home later that night.
Yeah.
Marcy is his long-term lover, I think 4 years. In fact,
Yeah.
many people think that they are actually married. They're
At
not.
least one person, yeah.
She arrives wearing denims and a chaps combination.
I was a bit confused here as well because I thought she'd parked next to a motorbike, but she can't have done because the guy at the motorbike wouldn't have been here.
Unless she's meant to be a bit of a rock and roll star. Maybe if she has her own motorbike. But sexist there, Ian. A woman couldn't have a motorbike.
No, just because it's part of the episode that the motorbike from the opening shot was the lover's motorbike.
Yeah. When she arrives at the front door, her bags are literally packed.
Yeah, they're not even in the house, they're
Nope.
sitting out there, and her keys have been, the locks have been changed, so her keys don't work.
After a little bit of screaming, demanding to be let in, she departs and we see Hugh look down. He hasn't even bothered to speak to her and she drives off.
Yeah, a bit of bad language for Columbo as well. It's obviously a late night episode.
It's the next morning. We're on a building site, a development that Hugh is involved in, that Hugh is financing.
Yes, and she shows up.
I mean, it's quite an odd... She acts as if they've had a minor tiff.
Well, yeah, I don't think she wants to give anybody else the impression that there's any problem when she shows up in public, but there has obviously been some kind of issue and she needs to discuss it with him.
Yeah, so she wants to know why she's been thrown out, and he explains in simple enough terms, it's over, it's finished, you're out.
Yeah.
This is another, you've mentioned before, this is a very unsympathetic victim. So she's been cheating, and she's effectively tried to, when she's been caught red-handed, so to speak, rather than saying, yeah, I've been in the wrong here, I've been cheating, yep, okay, it's over. She demands half of his earnings and then tries to blackmail him.
With lies as well, not even with the truth.
Lies?
Well, she says she's going to tell the media he's been buying off cops and witnesses, and he says that's not the case, and she's who they're going to believe.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would...
Well, I suppose you maybe believe her over him.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that there's a good chance. I mean, he's a type of person who will resort to murder, so I'm not sure how ethically sound he is. In any case, yeah, she's been in the wrong, and when she's been caught, she's not been happy.
No, I like the way he describes her here as a has-been rock star who used to be Hugh Crichton's mistress.
Yeah,
That's going to be a blow to the ego, you would think.
without a doubt. Marcy believes she is due the same that would be due a wife.
Not even the same that would be due a wife. The same that would be due a wife who married the day they started seeing each other.
Sure. She goes further and tells him exactly what she wants.
Sweetheart, be careful there, honey. You fall off this building, somebody might think it wasn't an accident. See the headlines right now, famous lawyer kills mistress. It's not real good for business. Be careful, all right?
You want headlines? I'll give you a headline. Marcy tells how America's most famous lawyer buys cops, judges, witnesses, and presidents. It'll be your word against mine. And who do you think they'll believe? The shyster lawyer? Or sweet little me?
How much do you want?
The same as I get as your wife. I figure you've made about $10 million since we've been living together. Half of that's $5 million. and I want it now in cash.
Marcy, I don't have $5 million in cash. Every cent I've got is tied up in this building. You know that.
So sell it. I'll give you 2 months. Until then, we'll continue living exactly as we have been. Now, may I have the keys to the house? Darling?
Yeah, much in line with what you were saying. I've noted down she's clearly twisted. She just wants everything her own way.
Mm-hmm. Marcy was played by Cheryl Paris. Formerly an elite agency model, she is the ex-wife of Ken Ketcheval, who played Cliff Barnes in Dallas. Did you ever watch Dallas?
I didn't, so I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I didn't know his name, but when I looked him up, I recognised him immediately. He's a stalwart of Dallas.
Right, okay.
I think he played quite a bad guy. They're all bad guys in that, but he was an arch baddie.
Right.
A rival of JR's.
Ooh.
She has also been in Sweet Justice, Rescue Me, not the most recent TV show, Matlock and T.J. Hooker. I think she only has about 14 credits to her name.
Not a big star then.
No. Where do we go from the building site?
Back to the beach house.
Hugh greets the gardener, Ando,
Yes.
who is raking a sand patch. It's quite an odd. Just with the sand lying around, or not
Perhaps
grass.
it's not the time of year for whatever they've planted.
So I just like Columbo, I have no green thumbs, but I'm not sure if when it's not the time of year you dump sand on something.
I don't know.
I've never seen any gardener do that or heard of it. I watched the Beech Grove Garden I used to watch. They never said, okay, it's out of season, throw some sand on top of your
Maybe
soil.
it wasn't sand, maybe it was some kind of fertiliser.
Yeah. Anyway. Hugh is wearing a set of murderer gloves.
Yeah, I think he keeps them for when he needs to murder.
Mm-hmm. And he covertly checks out Ando's work schedule.
Yeah, he wants to know when he's going to be back at the beach house.
Mm-hmm. He then enters the house and he uses a syringe to spike a bottle of champagne.
That's not an unfamiliar method, is it?
I've seen that before.
Murder under glass.
Mm-hmm. We return to Hugh's house the next morning, and they're having breakfast are Hugh and Marcy.
Yeah, it looks like he's spiking her tea with something.
Mm-hmm. Although he appears to be in a friendlier mood. He tells her he loves her.
Oh, he didn't appear to me to be in a friendly mood at all. It looked like it was all an act.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But he appears to be in a friendly... Okay.
As you say, he expects her coffee with something.
She looks a bit apprehensive. I'm thinking she's not sure how to take this.
Definitely. If you've been caught cheating and then been thrown out the house and had to resort to blackmail in order to get where you... I wouldn't expect that person to be all friendly with me. I'd be suspicious as hell at this point. In fact, I'd be thinking, is he going to murder me?
Well, the other thing I think she might be thinking is he reneging on our arrangement? Is he wanting to just carry on?
Yeah, perhaps he's trying to butter me up to sweet talk me.
Keep his £5 million or dollars.
Mm-hmm.
They make an arrangement for dinner.
Yeah, she says that she will be going to the beach house through the day, but they're going to meet up at 6 p.m. and go out for a not unromantic meal.
Is that how you phrase it if you're taking your wife out?
Without a doubt.
Would you like to go for a not unromantic meal?
She loves it.
Swept off her feet by that one.
So we're at the beach.
Well, Marcy does drink the tea, or the coffee, or whatever it is that's been spiked. We should mention that at the end of the scene. And yeah, she goes to the beach and disregards any thoughts of compassion or love for Hugh.
Yes. And we cut to Hugh. Well, she's frolicking around in the water with the lover, who is Neddy Malcolm.
What kind of a name is Neddy? Is that Edward?
I think so, yeah. And we cut to Hugh, who has followed Ando to one of his jobs, and when Ando leaves the truck, he steals it whilst dressed like him. So he's wearing his hat and similar clothes.
It's very strange.
Not only is it strange, it's very chancy. How could he be sure that Ando would leave his keys in the truck?
He's maybe seen him do it. I don't know. It's not covered.
No.
Also, how does he know that Ando's not going to come out and notice his van's not there and call the police?
Well, he does.
Yeah, I know. He notices it's moved later. He doesn't notice it while it's away.
No. We go back to the beach house and we see Neddy enjoying the champagne in the bedroom before Hugh arrives by truck and enters the house in the kitchen. And he swaps the tampered champagne cork that Neddy's opened for a new one which he has brought with him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
For
a start, it's the wrong cork, because we're going to find out.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have known that.
He should have known if he's planning this murder.
Yeah, and
He should at least have known it's a different champagne.
yes, but would you necessarily have known that a different champagne had a different cork?
But I would have probably checked if I wasn't certain it was exactly... Even if it was the same champagne, I'd have thought, is it something different printed on it? Is there a date in this that matches the bottles or a code?
Sure. In any case, we see Neddy pass out, and Hugh makes his appearance into the bedroom, much to the shock and worry of Marcy, who tells him not to hurt Neddy before we see her realise, it's implied, her realisation is implied, it's not Neddy that's about to be harmed.
Well, at this point, you think he might be dead, Neddy. He's maybe been poisoned. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't show you what happens to Marcy, annoyingly.
So this is one of these times where I can't remember watching it the first time what I thought. So
Yeah.
is that what you...
Yeah, so I thought Neddy was dead, and I assumed he then killed her as well, but I didn't know how or why. I knew why, I didn't know how, because it didn't show you. I don't understand why it didn't show you. There wasn't anything gained because you see her dead shortly thereafter.
Sure, but I enjoyed it because I thought that realisation was enough for that scene. We didn't have to see her being strangled Hollywood style, a 5-second strangulation.
No, I didn't think it was obvious what was happening or how he was going to kill her. You didn't see any signs of strangulation.
Sure, but it's not something that's withheld from from us because we learn in the next
Very
scene.
quickly, yeah. I'm assuming here, based on information we learn later, that the reason she takes a sip of champagne and no more is because of the thing that was in the tea or coffee earlier on.
Yes, we discussed that. They discussed that it's an anti-drinking drug for alcoholics. These things do exist. It's pills you take, and as soon as you taste alcohol, you feel ill or it puts you off drinking.
I think that's what's happened here, and that's why she's awake when he comes back.
But I'm trying to work out why would he not just
Let
spike
them
both
both
of them and then strangle her when she's asleep? It's a far easier job.
Could be then that whatever the drug he gave them would be in her system, whereas the Neddy fellow's away and they don't get to test his blood.
Yes, good point. So we next see Hugh wash the champagne flutes and the bottle that the drug was in before he opens a new one, and he pours some into these glasses in the bottle to make it look as if they've been unadulterated.
Yeah.
He then gets prints from Neddy's hands onto the bottle, and he leaves via the sand out the back that he rakes free of his own prints as he backs
very
up.
haphazardly. He doesn't match it to how it was before.
No, but he's only concerned about covering his own prints, because this is the thing, it'll be obvious someone has left and has been on the scene. The cops will expect that. So as long as he can't be identified, he's not trying to hide that a murderer was there.
Sure. Yeah, and the note I've got here is, where's Marcy? Because at this point you don't know, or at least I didn't know watching the episode for the first time, what's happened to her. Has he killed her? Has he tied her up? Has he done something different? Because I still think that Neddy's dead.
Okay. He returns the truck to the tree-lined avenue where he got it from, and he then remembers, this is a nice touch, he leaves and goes back and readjusts the position of the driving position of the seat.
Yeah, he remembers that. He doesn't remember to park it in the same place where he found it.
This has never been clear to me. We find out that it moved 2 blocks. Now, you wouldn't not been in the exact same position, a few yards here or there is acceptable, is understandable. But how could you park it 2 blocks? That's a big difference. That's the wrong area.
Yes.
So I thought that Ando had worked out that it was moved and come back because of the berries. Because he explains the berries.
But the berries are from where it's left. Because you see them on... he wipes them off the roof of his own car.
Yes.
It's not from where it's been, it's from where it gets left.
No, that's true. So we have to assume that this criminal expert, this legal genius, parked a car 2 blocks.
And does that match up with the scene with him taking the van? Do we not see him park his car?
Yeah, because he would have to have driven back to his own car.
Yeah, that's what he's done. So did he initially park it 2 blocks away and then...
No, this isn't clear to me.
I wasn't certain what was going on with that.
No. It's not that much of a deal, to be honest.
Well,
if
he's parked it in completely the wrong place, then it shows that he's not as bright as he thinks he is. Although maybe he's just not interested in the details. Because he's going to prove he wasn't there.
No, I don't accept that. No, I think I cannot in my mind, I cannot think of any way that you could park your car 2 blocks in error.
Now, I'm trying to remember when he took it, was it not in a driveway? He took it out of a driveway and then returned it to the street.
Can't remember. Do you know what? We'll open this one up to the listeners. Can someone explain how this is possible and what are we missing here?
Preferably with diagrams.
Yeah.
Maybe animated, whatever.
Video is
you
good.
Can do. Well, if you can go and recreate it, please do. But if you can get it into us this week, that'd be great.
He leaves the scene, and we then see Neddy wake up to find Marcy dead.
Yep, she's dead next to him, and he thinks of phoning the police.
His initial reaction is he dials 911 and then stops. We find out later he has a history of violence against women.
He does, but Hugh again has relied on that. What if he dialed 911? What if he said, I don't know what happened here, but it wasn't me?
Does that make any difference? Because he's going to get caught anyway.
Yep.
Or is Hugh's plan that he will never be caught? That's far too chancy. He knows that he's been there 3 times a week. People will have seen him.
Yep.
So, with Hugh's legal background, he must know witnesses will come forward. He will be questioned anyway. Yeah, I'm not 100% clear as to what.
If he phones the police from the scene and they come and get him, he says, I passed out, I don't know what happened, they would maybe take a blood sample and test it.
Yeah.
So Hugh, in that case, is relying on him not phoning the police and leaving.
Yeah, chancy.
Yeah. On the other hand, the guy maybe doesn't know whether he did it or not.
True.
He could wake up thinking, did I do this? Was it me?
Yeah.
I need to go.
I think that's more likely. I don't think he's just scared. I think he, with his perhaps history of violence and having a blackout, he can't remember what's happened.
Yeah.
We're back at the beach house the next morning. It's the crime scene.
Yeah, Columbo's there.
He arrives with an immediate trope. He asks a fan, or an onlooker, how much his ghetto blaster, his cassette stereo player cost.
Yeah. And he gets advised to go to, I think it's Dary's.
Dohi's.
Hang on.
D-H-O...
D-H-O-T-I, Doty's.
Doty's, yeah. A discount shop.
Yes.
What was it, $4.99, $5.99 list?
Whatever that means.
Columbo goes around the back with a uniformed cop, and he notes the footprints in the patterned sand, and the cop explains that they are the footprints of the cleaner who has arrived or who found the body. But Columbo decides he's best using the front door anyway.
He doesn't want to disturb it. He thinks the raking's a bit odd, and he doesn't step on it himself.
He ignores an eager press pack and he enters the building from the front door, and a female cop, a Sergeant Hubbock,
Something like that anyway. It's a strange name, isn't it?
she briefs him on what they know, or what they think they know.
She's familiar as well.
Sondra Curry.
Indeed.
Yes. Last time we saw her
in Murder in Malibu, playing a woman on the end of the phone.
Mrs. Rocco or Coco or something. Rocco, yes. And we were unimpressed with the limited screen time that she received, so she certainly made up for it in this episode.
I quite enjoyed her in this episode,
Yeah.
actually. I think she did a good job as a deputy.
A very good job. In the bedroom, we meet another familiar face, George, the ME.
It's his third show?
Yeah, he is very specific about what he thinks happened. Now, that's not his job.
I was going to say, it's not really his job at all, is it?
No, that's the legal team and Columbo's position. He should be saying she was strangled.
At this time,
Yes.
by someone with big hands.
Yeah, but what does he say? Oh, it's obvious that they were getting intimate. She said no and he strangled her. It's like, where are you getting this from?
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah, just you tell
Is
us
there
what...
skin under her fingernails or anything like that?
No, there's not. Just you tell us the facts. The facts, please, ma'am.
He could have done that, though. He could have used her hand to scratch the Neddy's body, if he'd thought about it. They go back to the kitchen.
Well, before that,
Okay.
so it's established that Marcy has been strangled, and Columbo wants prints.
Yes.
Again, George, rather than saying, yep, I'll do what I can, he says, I don't think there'll be any use, to look a bit smudged. Smudged. George, get me the prints, get me what you can, stop talking back here.
Yeah, just take notes and do what you're told.
Yeah. But again, before we go to the kitchen, Marcy was apparently Columbo's nephew's favourite singer.
Yeah, he starts looking in the wall for a particular record, then catches himself and thinks, what am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly. He actually says that. What am I doing? Yeah.
I wonder if that's a nod to previous episodes where he's done things like that at these moments.
But he does note the fantastic prints that they've been able to retrieve from the champagne bottles,
Yeah.
which is quite an important point.
It's a clue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
the discrepancy between the fingerprints in the throat and the fingerprints in the bottle.
Well, not even so much the discrepancy. It's if you're going to wear gloves to strangle someone, you don't leave your fingerprints all over the bottle.
Indeed.
So we go down to the kitchen, as you mentioned, and Columbo's got a problem. Why is he puzzled about this?
I'm not buying his theory.
No, I've got an issue as well. You go first.
So Columbo is confused that there's 2 champagne corks in the kitchen. Why would they open them both in the kitchen? They could open one there, then they would be sex in the air, so they would want to be together.
Yeah, it's a clip from the top of the podcast there, where Columbo says it's all about the pop and the spritz. No one would open a champagne bottle on their own. Now, what I will say is this is a massive assumption. If you're an average Joe, if you're Mr. Columbo and Mrs. Columbo, and you might drink 1 bottle of champagne per year for a birthday or something, yeah, I would agree. That's part of and most people don't drink champagne all the time. Yeah,
these folk have been doing it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for.
They're rock stars, right? So they're used to that whole sort of lifestyle. And he or she has a case, at least sort of 12 bottles in the fridge, and they're drinking 2. If that's your standard drink of choice, after the second or third time of whoa, you're not interested, you just enjoy the drink.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, so I don't buy that at all.
Yeah, and I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility at all that she'd be saying to him, get yourself down the kitchen and come back with some champagne.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If it's without wanting to be too graphic, if it's a post-coital celebratory drink, then you're not as inclined to both rush down to the kitchen, and it'd be more likely that he'd be sent on his way and told to bring to bring a bottle up.
Yeah, especially if they've already got glasses. Mm-hmm. I would imagine.
Yeah. In any case, Columbo has pictures of the corks and the foil taken before again rabbiting on about the stereo.
Yeah, and I think that Sondra Curry's character here seems quite perturbed by the questions.
Yeah, I think she's thinking this isn't massively professional here.
Absolutely, that's exactly what she's thinking, I think.
A little bit more background on Sondra Curry.
Do we need more beyond that she follows us on Twitter?
Mentioned this is her second and most prominent role in Columbo. She has been in all 3 Hangover movies. Also ER, Murder, She Wrote, Cheers, The Golden Girls, Three's Company, Magnum, Ironside and Policewoman. Her sister, Cherry, was the lead singer of the 70s band The Runaways.
Cherry Curry?
Yes. I've not had one of those before.
No, I have had like pineapple and kiwi and a Kashmiri korma. But
more of a spicy, more of a savoury.
Right. And I do like sliced banana and raisins in my curry.
No.
You're not having that?
More of a lamb buna, lamb.
Desiccated coconut and peanuts?
No. I don't like a sweet curry. It needs to be hot and spicy.
You can combine the 2.
You can, yeah. Lamb buna all the way.
Courtroom.
I like this scene.
Yes, Crichton is distracting the DA, or the junior DA, who's giving his closing speech to the jury.
Yes.
And I noted very interesting that the things he was doing later went on to become a trope in Ally McBeal. You had John Cage's character, the lawyer played by Peter McNichol, and he would always do this when the other side were speaking. He'd be pouring his water really slowly, or he would be having some kind of coughing fit or something going on, and that was his thing.
Do you think that was inspired by this?
Maybe subconsciously, maybe overtly, who knows.
Yeah, I liked it. It was quite funny.
Yeah, it was good, but then I wasn't that impressed by his own speech.
No, the first thing he says was, do these look like the eyes of a cold-blooded murderer? And you're thinking, yeah, definitely. That was
shifty, yeah.
Very shifty. He looked like the type of guy who would wear his mother's skin.
Yeah, this is where I started to have a problem with him, because I don't think, and this wasn't actually the first thing. The first thing was the way that he gave into the blackmail, or seemed to give into the blackmail without standing up to her with his personality and his words. He seemed like a weak character. And obviously then reverted to murder, which is still a cowardly thing to do.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you here. I know what you're saying, I know your view, and certainly it doesn't, on the face of it, come across with the same amount of authority as Magoo and Agenda. But I think it's I don't know, they're just a different, I think there's something there, there's a steel about him. Maybe I'm just thinking back to his character in Double Shock, Detective Murray.
Maybe.
He was a no-nonsense, bit of a tough guy, I liked.
Yeah, but I think in this one he lacks a bit of a spine. He's a bit weaselly and sly.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that aloofness or arrogance, really. I mean, there's a couple of moments of it, but he doesn't carry himself in that way that you would expect someone who was unbeatable in trial.
Well, yeah, but that's perhaps a different strategy. So he is weaselly and sly, but that's, as we've seen here, that's his tactics. He doesn't not necessarily winning by being the best, but he's using he's using different techniques and tools, and he's using whatever he can.
Street fighter.
A street fighter, yeah. And he says, yeah, I'll play dirty. And in this case, yeah, rather than saying, okay, can we come to some sort of arrangement? Let me try and persuade you not to blackmail me or to leave gracefully. He thinks, no, I'll tell her what she wants to hear, and I'm going to kill her because I'm a Weasley street fighter.
Yeah, but then he comes to getting blackmailed again later, and he just folds again.
Yeah, he's not having he's not having a great time with the ladies, is he?
No, and I just think that there's a strength of character absent that I would expect in this character. Or if you're going to make him this sly Weasley guy who's a street fighter and does things a different way, that's not established clearly in the episode. That was it didn't ruin the episode for me. I just thought that they could have done that character slightly better, one way or the other.
Yeah, fair point. Columbo enters during all this, and he causes a commotion before having the court adjourned.
Yeah, my favourite line of the episode comes up in this next scene.
Which is?
So they go into a wee side room, the two of them, and he says, "What's this all about, Columbus?"
Yes. I actually laughed out loud at that point. But then Columbo eventually breaks the news to him. Now, we've seen this before with Columbo when he is deliberately stalling, trying to put someone off guard. But at this point, he has no idea that this is a killer. And rather than saying, I'm sorry, Mr. Crichton, your lover, your partner has been found murdered immediately, he starts to ask, do you know her? Did she live at this address? And he's rightly exasperated and saying, oh, forget all that, what are you here to tell me? It
could be that those are the by-the-book questions, and Columbo's been told, don't mess around with this guy.
Hugh acts shocked at the news as, is it Trish or Trisha? Trish, his associate.
Yeah, she comes in and shows some genuine fake emotion.
Yeah, I think she's very quick to understand what's going on.
Yeah, but I think she's already knowing to an extent what's going on. Insofar as something's up. She knows from what she was asked to do that something's up.
Yeah, but she didn't know until this point that he had murdered.
No, but, I think she's got her radar.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now she's starting to piece everything together.
Yeah. She's quite bright, I think.
Very bright.
But not as bright as she thinks.
No. We don't need to mention the actress who played Trish Fairbanks in too much detail. We have done before. It's Shira Denise, Peter Falk's wife.
Another perfectly good performance from someone who I think has been
unfairly
criticised, and I think very good, at least very good in the episodes that she's done.
Mm-hmm. I think, as I might have mentioned before, I think it's the Yoko Ono effect.
Yeah.
Before we leave this scene, the time of death is established, and Columbo then asks you to identify the body in the morgue.
So they head there.
Hugh gives a positive ID, and this was nice but odd. He proceeds to investigate and analyse the body like a third party.
Sure, like it's one of his cases.
Yes.
So he's giving lawyerly advice and lawyerly questions, and tries to force Columbo to share the autopsy report with him.
Yeah, but Columbo refuses, even under pressure and thinly veiled threats.
Well, again, he cites regulations, which makes me think he's been told to play it by the book with this guy. Although we never see that happen, I think the previous scene and then this scene, the way he does these things, gives that impression.
Mm-hmm. We're in Hugh's office and Trish enters. She claims that Hugh knew about Marcy having an affair with Neddy. He denies it initially, but she pushes and has a further claim. He killed her, and she knows exactly what she wants.
Well, yes.
So what are you going to do about it?
Do? What can I do? If I go to the police, I can be charged as an accessory before the fact.
They're not going to do anything.
I didn't say that. What I'm going to do is trust that you give me that partnership you've been promising me for the past 3 years.
Fine, but that's next year.
No. Start a business tomorrow morning.
Well, Trish, in deference to Marcy, don't you think we should wait till after the funeral, a couple of months?
Not for the partnership. I can wait 6 months for us to get married.
Married?
It's for your own protection, Hugh. As your wife, I can't be forced to testify against you. It's the best insurance you could have. I have insurance. You should have some, too.
What insurance do you have?
Life insurance. If if I should fall out an office window, have a sudden heart attack, get bit by a rabid dog, an envelope like this one would turn up on all sorts of desks, including Lieutenant Columbo's. Do we have a deal, partner?
I'm not buying her concern about being an accessory before the fact.
Not at all. I don't think there's any chance of that. I think that the reality is she is just as bad as what Hugh is, and is looking to use the situation, obviously, to benefit herself.
It reminded me, obviously, of the tail end of Any Old Port in a Storm.
Mm-hmm.
In similar circumstances.
Yeah, but she's in many cases, we've discussed this many times, where you fear for the blackmailer, but she is a smart cookie, and I think she's taken the precautions that most people haven't.
Yeah, now we say she's smart, and I mentioned that a scene ago, but insisting on the immediate partnership, there's two ways to look at this. One, it's really stupid, but the other is really smart, because if she gets the partnership and then he gets arrested for murder, it's her firm.
Yes, but so I would agree, yes, that is smart. However, it's not the case of the arrest, it would be the conviction. So the very next day, being quite efficient about the whole process is perhaps smart, but the very next day when his wife his long-term partner has been murdered, for him then to supposedly promote someone and be thinking about business.
Yeah, there's also the issue about potentially ruining the business anyway if he, as the named person, is diminished in the eyes of the public, and there's no trust anymore.
Sure. We head over to LAPD, and for some reason, Columbo is treated like a nobody. Yeah,
Crichton's pulling levers here.
Yeah, the chief orders him to work with Hugh in the case and accept his help. Now, we've mentioned this before, but Columbo is a super cop. And we see later as well, he's sitting out his own little, he's got a desk in a communal room. He doesn't even have his own office.
That could be his own choice.
Possibly, yeah.
He likes to know what's going on and see things happening around him.
So the chief tells Columbo that he is to meet with Hugh at the Darrow Club and recommends what?
I quite enjoyed this because Columbo doesn't look at all impressed until he's told he can get a New York steak.
1.5 inches thick.
Yeah, that's the best kind, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you recognise the chief?
No.
Yeah, oh, come on.
Oh, was it Finnegan?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes I did then, obviously.
So we go to the Darrow Club. Columbo arrives for dinner with the case files as ordered. Hugh has some soup, noodle soup I think. What does Columbo?
Well, Columbo says he's not hungry, so he has a prawn cocktail to start, steak, Caesar salad and sweet corn to follow.
After reading the report, Hugh provides Columbo with the theory that he has to accept.
Yeah, but Columbo's got concerns with his theory.
Well, what is the theory first of all?
The theory is that this lover... Oh no, Marcy met somebody on the beach that day, took him back for champagne and caviar. When he pressed the issue with her and she rejected him, he got violent and killed her.
Columbo does not believe that he was a stranger due to the different witness reports that have seen him around over the weeks.
Yeah, there's volleyball players and neighbours who are both going to stand up and say that.
And Hugh does a nice little job of appearing to not want to accept or discuss the possibility of a long-term affair, so they decide to drop it.
Yeah, Columbo also notes though that there was no alcohol in her blood and they found traces of this anti-alcohol medication.
Yeah.
Crichton's explanation is clearly one that he's thought out in advance, but I don't think it's that strong.
I've actually noted it's unconvincing.
Yeah.
He says that Marcy was a vitamin nut and could have accidentally taken one of his pills because he uses this. He's got a little drinking problem, and she may have accidentally taken one of these pills.
Yeah.
But I don't think, you like your vitamins, so therefore you're just like a sort of Tasmanian devil,
Whoever's lying,
grabbing pills and just...
Well, I'd have thought the other way around. If you were that into your vitamins, you would know exactly what every pill was, what it was for, why you were taking it, how often you take it.
I agree.
This is where I noted that I didn't think the actor playing Crichton was convincing. He lacked certainty for me. That was it. He was a bit wishy-washy, and particularly on that second blackmail.
You see, fair enough in the second blackmail, but... Well, two things. I think he was pretending to be wishy-washy. I think he was pretending to be distraught and hurt by this revelation.
But that wasn't the wishy-washiness that I meant. I think it was more he didn't seem to have the courage of his convictions. Like, he was making a point and then he was backpedaling when he was challenged, rather than saying, "This is my point, I'm standing by my point."
Okay, fair enough. But with regards to your point about him and the second blackmail, I could argue, or you could argue, that he is so smart and knows what he's doing that he realises the situation he's been in. He doesn't try to fight it. So he knows, when to retreat, when to what position to take, what strategically is the most appropriate.
True, but the way he accepts it, it's almost like a resignation. He looks down. He doesn't redefine it on his own terms. So he could accept that blackmail, but be proactive in the way that he was doing it. Instead of saying, "You're not getting this, you're not getting that," he could have said, "Right, you'll get this on this day, you'll get this on this. Here's how it's going to work," rather than basically being dictated to.
Sure. Before they leave the restaurant, Hugh insists that Columbo do everything by the book. So he wants to make sure that the murderer will not go off on a technicality.
He suspects he has some familiarity with technicalities.
Back at the beach house. Now this is nonsense. Columbo turns up with an umbrella and a ridiculous baseball cap. Why is he wearing a cap?
He's never worn one before.
Nope, he's got an umbrella. That's the whole point, Columbo.
And the hat says on it NFI. What's that stand for?
Don't know. I was going to look up, but I couldn't be bothered.
I did look up briefly on Google, but there wasn't anything that seemed relevant. The logo didn't seem familiar.
Listeners, another job for yourselves. What is NFI?
Amusingly, the one thing it did suggest is kind of pairing up with what we think.
Necrophilia?
No effing idea.
Could be. He is met at the door by a very stern housekeeper.
Yes, she is annoying. She's almost like military grade angry at any dirt.
But it's not that, it's just this unrealistic reaction that you get to cops that only happen in the movies. Most innocent people in real life, most people who don't come across cops in their day-to-day lives, will be totally deferential and looking to help them out. Her employee has been murdered.
Yeah.
There's a homicide cop here. And you're
but he's making a mess.
Yeah. Oh, why are you here? You're making a mess. You'd be offering them cups of tea, all that type of stuff, doing your best to help out. You wouldn't be having a go at him.
Either that or staying out of his way.
Yeah.
Let him work.
And anyway, this is an oversight by Columbo, the police department. If you are still looking, if this is a crime scene and you're looking for information, why are you allowing a cleaner to get in and start?
Yes.
So Columbo's there to compare the pictures of the champagne bottles with two from the fridge and the corks that he has brought with him.
Yeah.
And he notes the difference between one of the corks has 2 stars on it and the rest have 1.
Yeah, he opens a new bottle to make sure, because it's on the underside of the cork, inside the bottle. It matches. Yeah,
he is looking for a missing cork. Inside, the cleaner says that the trash has been taken out, you won't find anything. He insists on going to look in the outside trash can, and when he does so, he notices something.
Yeah, the bins are empty, and the help from the cleaner's not great, but he notices that the raking he saw before has been redone.
In a different way. It's
in
different
a
pattern.
more sort of professional looking. He had a name for it, I can't remember what he called it. But there was a...
Herringbone.
Yes, there you go. Mm-hmm. Herringbone raking. Obviously he's a raking expert.
Well, herringbone is a pattern as opposed to a raking technique.
Sure.
Not got a pair of herringbone trousers?
No.
Okay.
You have a pair?
Yeah.
Are they all the rage?
Nah. They're always in style.
Sure, just like those other things you wear. That's pretty much all we get from this scene.
Not quite. He goes back into the house and we get a major piece of evidence
pretty
here.
Much. There's one more thing.
Yeah. He is looking at the discs on the wall to try and establish if it is a song he was thinking about.
Up in the bedroom, yes.
And when he lifts down one of the frames, he notices some plaster, some dust on it, and that leads him up to the air vent where he is suspicious about what may have been going on.
He is, and Habak shows up. Habak?
Shubak.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They've ID'd the fingerprints, and there's an APB out for Neddy.
Yes, he's been in trouble with the police and a woman before.
Now, do you think he's based on somebody, Neddy?
Nah.
He's a very British rock star.
Oh, that was back in the 80s and the 90s. Every rock star in Hollywood and the movies would always have been a British guy.
Yeah, so I just wonder that you recognise a particular person.
It was because of the sort of new wave that came in the 70s and 80s. There's a major British scene, obviously, guys like Billy Idol, etc., Adamant. So whenever you watch one of these TV shows like this, 9 times out of 10, the rock star will be British, will be English.
Yeah, I mean, the accent was very Billy Idol. He didn't look anything like Billy Idol, but he had similar accent to Billy Idol.
Yeah. Columbo, even when he's told about these prints matching, he seems more concerned about finding Ando than Neddy.
Yes.
Back in Hugh's offices, Columbo is bemused to find Trish acting like a whirling dervish as she redecorates and restructures the offices.
Yeah, I said rejazzing.
Yeah, it's more than that. When she's talking about putting a jacuzzi in.
Why would you need that?
You wouldn't. This has went to her head the very next day. Again, act. You're not a stupid person. Play the role of someone who is grieving or is acting appropriately when your former boss or your partner's lover has been murdered.
Yeah, you're acting like someone who's just got their hands on the firm's account.
You're acting as if you don't care.
Yeah, and fair enough, she maybe doesn't care, but have some respect for the guy you work with.
Columbo congratulates her on making partner.
He does, but you can tell he's probably had his interest piqued by this.
Of course, he's thinking this is odd behaviour.
Very odd.
He enters Hugh's own private office and tells him that they have matched the prints. He then remarks on and inspects Hugh's champagne collection.
Vintage.
That's a bit odd. Right, I can accept even that back in the 80s or the 90s you might have a drinks cabinet in your office. And you may have even had champagne in there, but you wouldn't have vintage stuff. You don't keep the vintage stuff in a little freezer a little fridge in your office. That's just day-to-day drinking stuff. If it's vintage, well, it's not that vintage, it's 6 years old.
I don't think it's vintage at all.
No.
I think it's just more expensive. And Columbo uses the word vintage inappropriately.
Yeah, and vintage, without going off on a tangent, doesn't really mean what people think it does.
Yeah.
Being older doesn't necessarily... The vintage itself
it's a particular year,
is the year that it was produced. Now, that might have been a dreadful year, it might have been a good year. You might have a wine that's 10 years old, which is better than a wine that's 20 years old because it was a bad vintage for that crop or whatever. So, anyway, rant over.
They get to chatting about the identification of the suspect.
And Hugh then pretends to recall something about Neddy.
Lieutenant, wait a minute. This character used to play the drum. This was Marcy's drummer. He was... But I don't think she's seen him for years.
Well, those are Malcolm's fingerprints, sir. There's no question about that.
Lieutenant, if this is who I think it is, this is one bad apple. He's done it all. Everything. Booze, dope, women. He's always in
He's
trouble.
got 5 assaults involving a woman.
Well, yeah.
He got an attempted rape here 3 years ago. That charge was dropped.
Charges. Well, not this time.
No, sir.
Not this time.
No, sir, no.
I'll tell you what, Lieutenant. I'm going to give you my card. This has got my home, my service, and the
Yes,
car, everything on there. Just as soon as you hear anything at all, will you call me?
Yes, sir.
Will you do that?
I will, sir.
Now, can I keep this?
No, that's yours, sir. You keep that.
Good. Well, this is excellent. Really.
Oh, sir, I know that this is none of my business, but your new partner, she doesn't plan to redo this office, too, does she? Because I like it. I like it just the way it is.
I hear you.
That's, I suspect, confirmation for Columbo that was a reluctant promotion.
Yes, and also he's aware, I think, that Hugh is trying to further the likelihood of Ned's guilt.
Yeah.
By offering this information,
Yeah, no, definitely. There's one more little thing, but it's hardly interesting.
Ugh, what he asked about the cassette player.
Well, yeah, the ongoing subplot of this radio cassette player.
This, had you dropped this in once as a Columbo trope right at the start, as we saw, like how much does that cost? That's fine. But to have it as a running joke through the episode, it wears a little bit thin. Yeah,
and yes, this is the third time out of, I think, 4 or 5 it comes up. I didn't like the fact they stuck on that. It was unnecessary.
The next bit is inconsistent and unusual.
Yeah.
So we have a bit of action as we go to the apartment complex where they can find Neddy, who, when Columbo and Huback arrive, he makes a dash for it. He jumps out the bedroom into the pool.
It's hilarious because he dives through a window, then jumps over a barrier, and Columbo just goes out the door that's right next to it.
Yeah, in fact, this isn't a bit. This is the first part, which leads to the inconsistency in a few scenes' time. So yeah, the Huback gives chase,
And Columbo doesn't bother, he just reads the mail that's lying around.
He does. And what does he get from the mail?
He gets the name of is it Barbara?
Darlene.
Darlene Glinsky. I only wrote the surname down.
Who works in a bar, the Aquarium bar.
Yes.
In a very unusual role.
It's an incredibly unusual role.
Did this actually happen? Was this a thing?
Probably.
It certainly wasn't in Glasgow.
Not the bars that I went to.
Nope. So Columbo wanders over to the Aquarium bar.
Yes.
And what does he do?
Well, he asks the barman for this Darlene Glinsky, and he's pointed to a woman dancing in a fish tank.
Yeah, a fish tank behind the bar, and it's like a miniature lady.
She's about 3 inches tall.
Yeah, and you think, is that like some sort of 3D projection, or is it a video image? But no, it's not.
She's in the basement.
And it's being projected up through a
Yes.
series of mirrors.
So it looks like she's dancing in with the fish, but she's really just on a series of ropes and pulleys in the basement.
And this is a seedy little bar.
Mm.
You have to say to yourself, from a business point of view,
Worth the effort.
how much do you have to pay to install that, and then to pay her to do that for her? She can't do that for too long. She's spinning up and down. You can't do that for, a 6-hour shift.
No.
So the amount of money it costs to install it and then to pay her for the overall effect of having a small woman twirl upside down for you, why would you? She's not even nudie.
Well, that would be weird.
It'd be weird, but I can understand it'd be more of an attraction to just a woman turning upside down, Guys will go to lap dancing. Some guys like looking at naked ladies. But just a woman going upside down in a trapeze thing, what's the...
It could be that when you're at the bar, it catches your eye and you order an extra round of drinks while you're trying to work out what's going on.
No.
How do they get her in the aquarium?
Yeah.
Is she really small? How
Yeah.
does she breathe?
That doesn't look like the sort of bar where you get a lot of passing trades. These will all be regulars, and it's like, yeah, her again doing that thing. I'm not even going to look at it anymore. It's just her going round and round. This is boring.
Yeah. I like the fact they do proper pay slips though.
Of course, they pay their taxes.
Yes. Columbo finds her in the basement
He does.
and he lies to her.
He does. What does he get from her?
He suggests to her that he's an old acquaintance of Neddy, or he's been sent by an old acquaintance of Neddy to hand over some money that was owed to him.
Johnny Fewhairs, I think, is the
pseudonym.
yeah.
And on hearing that, she goes from denying any knowledge of who Neddy is, which immediately makes you suspicious, to knowing exactly where he might be.
Yeah, the LA Rocks box, and he has to ask for Little Richard when he gets there.
As you do.
Obviously.
When he gets there, it actually is Little Richard.
It is. Before we get there, there's a weird scene where we see this old sort of drunk looking at Darlene and Columbo now.
Yes, Columbo apparently can see back out through the aquarium.
Yeah, I don't know how that's meant to work. It's stupid.
That's like how the folk in the telly can see you when you're watching it.
Yep. Government, Big Brother's watching you.
Absolutely.
Cover up that webcam.
Just don't have a webcam.
Precisely. We're now at the LA Rocks box, and as you mentioned there, Columbo walks in, and there's a cameo by Little Richard, who is rocking out on stage. As Columbo joins him in the rocking out, he taps his foot and nods his head a little bit.
Gets a bit of arm movement, I think, there as well.
He uses the same story on Little Richard as they head back to his dressing room. Now, in this world, this is Little Richard.
Yes.
A global legend.
But he's playing a dive bar in LA.
Yeah, and not only that, but you can just walk up to him and follow him down to his dressing room.
It could be it's just his place he likes to play in LA.
Yeah.
Or it could be it's an alternate universe, Little Richard who's not quite as famous.
Yep. Wee Richard.
Wee tiny Little Richard.
As he's talking to him in the changing room, who appears?
Oh, Neddy's there, of course.
Eventually, Columbo IDs himself. But this is the thing that's inconsistent. So, in the apartment scene, Columbo arrives with another cop, and he throws himself out of a window into a swimming pool and heads off, being chased by someone with a gun.
Yes.
Why would Columbo go here and assume that he wouldn't do the same thing again?
I don't know.
You wouldn't is the answer. That's a guy who runs from the cops.
You don't know what his associates are going to do. What if Little Richard pulls out a gun or...
And Columbo doesn't carry a gun. He'd have been better taking Hubik along for protection.
or an entire SWAT team?
Yeah. I don't understand why he would think that... Why would he'd assume that Neddy is just going to give up this time to an old cop with no gun.
Yeah, I don't know. But he does.
He does. So he takes him down to LAPD, where he's interviewed.
It's a great question here. He says to him, if you were so much in love, how come you only saw her Monday, Wednesday and Friday?
Yeah.
That seems reasonable enough to me. If you're in love with someone, you only had to see them 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm. But he really knows the situation, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He also explains to Columbo, his version of what actually happened that night.
Yeah, he says he didn't kill her, he blacked out and doesn't know what happened.
At this point, I think Columbo believes him.
Yeah.
So let's chat quickly about Little Richard and the chap who played Neddy Malcolm. I don't need to say too much about Little Richard. He was born in 1932. He's a rock and roll legend, as mentioned earlier, known for songs including Tutti Frutti and Good Golly Miss Molly. He became an ordained minister and is an inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Julian Stone played Neddy Malcolm, born in 1962. He's done a lot of voiceover stuff. He's been in Box Trolls, Thor 2, Eragon, Baywatch, and Night Eyes 2, alongside Andrew Stevens.
There you go. Box Trolls was good, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Not seen it.
Saw it a couple of times in the cinema with my little boy. It's an animated thing going on, but it's stop motion. It's quite good.
Columbo then meets up with Sam Marlowe, the private eye in his office.
How and why?
Yeah, I don't know. That confused me as well. The only thing I can think of is that Columbo did suspect that the air vent had been used for spying.
Yeah.
And there'd be a private eye involved in that, and he just asked at the offices who is the private eye that Hugh uses.
They should have shown us that, if that's what happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Because right now it just seems like he magically puts himself there, and then there's another moment of Columbo magic in a minute.
Okay, let's talk through this. He notices that Sam's diary is empty for the days when Marcy and Neddy would meet, i.e. the days when he's been spying on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would those days in the diary be empty? I mean, it's his job. It's his client.
I think, though, it's just the diary of his appointments. So he didn't have any appointments because he was busy spying.
Ah, okay.
I don't think you would write in your diary, out spying.
Well, it depends if your diary is to remind you what to do.
I think it was an appointments book rather than a diary. So I think he didn't have anyone coming into the office to meet him because he was out.
Okay.
This is where we get the Columbo magic.
Which is?
He just turns around and pulls down a camera off a shelf that has paint from the house that he was investigating.
Yeah, very convenient, isn't it?
For a start, how did he know the camera would have paint on it? Secondly, why was the paint not cleaned off? And it could easily have been.
Yep. And why was it such a massive camera?
Well, it was 1991, I suppose.
Yeah, but we know last week, cameras can be tiny.
Oh yes, they can be, but I don't know if they're affordable at that rate, that size.
Yeah, for a private eye who does spying work.
He's freelance, you can't be relying on income all the time.
I think he's not freelance, I think he's on a retainer anyway. I think he's guaranteed a good income from the world's greatest defence lawyer.
He does have a lot of bourbon to buy.
That's true.
And malls to entertain.
Yeah. So we don't find out what exactly happens here, but we assume that Sam spills the beans.
Yeah, he just throws all his ethics out the window and gives away every piece of information he's ever had.
Back in Hugh's house, and Columbo arrives to a jazz version of This Old Man, and he meets Hugh in a rush out of the door.
Yeah, no, I like the music there. Crichton drives a lot worse than Columbo. He gives him a lift.
Yes, he tells Hugh about capturing Neddy, but that he did not confess. And in fact, he thinks that he did not do it.
Crichton's not buying that.
No. So, as you say, they travel erratically in Hugh's car to the jailhouse where Hugh has got a case that he's working on.
It's not just erratically, it's dangerously. They cut across a bus and they cut around. It was insane driving. You would have to be trying to drive badly to drive that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, on the way, Columbo recounts Ned's version of the events. Crichton is... Well, he's surprised that Columbo would believe that story.
He is, given the evidence that he's arranged.
In the jail, Trish is there waiting for them on their arrival, and Hugh updates her with Columbo's opinion. Columbo then explains that one reason that he does not believe that Neddy did commit the crime was because of the fingerprints which we mentioned before.
We talked about this, why are they on the bottle and not on the throat?
Hugh claims that it must have been a stupid mistake.
He mentions that there's a lot of stupid mistakes to get a lot of people put in prison.
Here, yeah, but he's right. I mean, he's made a lot of stupid mistakes here, hasn't he?
He has.
Which works in his, which supports his point. You know, he's an expert in this field and he's made mistakes, so therefore, yeah, it could be a case that the killer, in the heat of passion, has made has made these mistakes as well.
It's like Columbo said, it might have been an agenda or another episode that they, maybe as bright as it comes, but it's their first try at murder, and the police are doing it many times a month.
But Columbo has more than just the fingerprints.
He does.
He knows that Hugh has been lying about knowing about the affair.
Because he's interrogated Marlowe and, he's waterboarded him and whatever else he had to do to get the knowledge.
In response to this, what does Hugh say?
I didn't write it down.
Okay,
It that interesting.
He basically just says that the reason he lied was that he found it hard to admit.
Yeah, that kind of ties in with what he said before. He didn't want to contemplate the idea.
Just then, a prisoner, Billy, enters the room and basically says that you're to Columbo, beat it, you're sitting in my seat.
Yeah, that's it. He only gets a certain number of minutes with his lawyer, so...
Like that. Back over to LAPD.
Yeah, Columbo's putting together what might be the most disgusting snack I've ever seen.
I would eat this.
I would throw this at you rather than eat it.
Peanut butter.
With raisins.
Yeah. Smart with that.
Ugh.
Oh, I don't. It's not something I do eat, but I would have no problem whatsoever.
Do you know what raisins are good in?
What? No, curry, yeah.
Oh, I wasn't going to say, I was going to say ready break, but yeah, curry as well.
Huback arrives and tells him that she has found Ando. Columbo rushes off.
Obviously.
Doesn't say thank you.
She had another piece of news that Crichton's car was nowhere near the crime scene. Or wasn't seen anywhere near the crime scene.
Correct. We're on the street and Columbo speaks with the aforementioned Ando, who confirms that he worked at the beach house on Tuesdays and Fridays, not Wednesdays. On the Wednesday, however, his truck had moved 2 blocks to a street that rained berries. Now we've discussed this before.
Yeah, this was weird, because how... We talked about this earlier. It doesn't make sense. Why would the truck not be in a reasonable place? Why would he leave it somewhere different?
Who knows? Columbo then tells Ando that they'll have to check his truck for prints.
Yeah, there are some communication issues between Columbo and Ando.
Oh, this is lazy. Oh, what's a guy from a different country? Let's do the whole shouting and being a foreigner type thing.
Yeah.
It's just a bit...
It wasn't necessary.
Nah. Borderline racist.
Probably.
Where are we next?
We go back to Crichton's office and there's a bit which I thought might be Columbo magic, but turned out not to be. Columbo's got a theory.
Okay.
About the syringe injecting a knockout drug into the champagne.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, where's he come up with that from?
Mm-hmm.
But he's got evidence.
Which is?
One of the corks doesn't come from the bottle that it's meant to.
Yes.
I did like the response from Crichton, though.
What was that?
Why don't you take your corks and get the hell out of here?
Yeah, he's not happy, is he?
Well, I think he's not interested in playing anymore.
No. A very short scene in LAPD.
Yeah, where they use our trope of saying bleeping.
Yep. The chief tells Columbo that they're being hauled over the coals by the DA, and Columbo is referred to as a bleeping cop.
Yes.
So we go to the DA's office. Hugh is pleading his case, and the case against Neddy when Columbo enters with the chief. The DA asks Columbo what he has, and he has to admit he has nothing that would stand up in court.
But he's not trying to indict anyone at this stage.
Not at this point. Hugh's obviously trying to use his influence to...
Leverage, yeah. Now, surely the DA must be aware of Columbo's record, though.
You see, in this scene, this is where it's the opposite. The DA, you said he didn't think that Crichton had enough sort of backbone.
Yep.
He certainly does in this scene. He's putting in fact, it's the DA who appears very wimpish.
Well, yeah, I think Crichton in this scene is good, but he's not like this in all the scenes.
Sure.
The DA is okay, no, I think the DA he must be aware of Columbo's record, and I think it shows in how he handles this. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just fold to what Crichton's asking him to do.
Columbo says it's simple. Well, but before that, let's make it clear. Columbo says that he knows, or he believes that Hugh killed her.
Yes, he states it explicitly.
Yeah. So Columbo says, listen, you can help yourself out here. What's your alibi? Where were you between the hours of 2 and 3 when she died? Or when she was murdered?
That's an important question.
Crichton responds.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the time of death was Wednesday between 3 and 4. Is that correct, Lieutenant?
That's correct, sir.
Well, I was in my car.
In your car?
Yeah,
Alone?
alone.
Nobody was with you?
Nobody with me.
And where were you?
I was driving back to my office. I'd been at the Huntington Museum.
Oh, but that's in Pasadena, isn't it?
Well, that's right, Lieutenant.
Pasadena's 50 miles from the beach, Lieutenant.
Yes, ma'am. While you were driving, Did you see anybody that could identify you?
While I was driving?
Yes.
No, Lieutenant, I didn't.
Did you stop in a gasoline station or anything like that?
No.
Did you get a cup of coffee?
No.
Did you make or receive any telephone calls from your car phone? If you did, sir, the phone company would have a record
of it. No calls, you.
No phone calls.
None at all?
None.
Then you have no alibi.
No. Everett, no, I have no alibi. So what are you gonna do? You gotta choose now, don't you? Let me tell you something. That woman meant everything to me. And I would hate to see her name smeared across front pages. And that's up to you. The ball's in your court.
We then get an odd intervention from his new partner.
Yes, just before that, Hugh threatens the DA. Basically says, I'll make it easy for you, I'll take the decision out of your hands, I'll be seeing you in court. I'll take this all the way.
Yeah, I don't understand how he's going to do that. It's not up to him who gets prosecuted for a crime.
True. I think he's presuming that.
They're choosing him.
Yeah. And then, as you mentioned, Trish intervenes.
Yeah, she's got a speeding ticket that gives him a cast iron alibi, but why would you not mention that when he was asked for an alibi?
Because she would not have known about that.
No, I mean, just in this scene, literally 2 minutes earlier before he gives that speech.
I think she's just trying to make it look more dramatic, as if it's not been pre-planned. It's a case of, oh, wait a second, when was this? 2 to 3? I've not really thought about this before. I do have an alibi. I think she's trying to play it casual.
Comes across as false. I think Columbo would say the same.
What is an alibi for Hugh?
It's a speeding ticket.
Why is that an alibi?
It's from the exact time that the murder took place, or at least at a time where he couldn't possibly have been at the beach house in his car.
And it's more than just a speeding ticket. Because a speeding ticket, anyone can be driving your car.
That's a radar speeding ticket with a photograph.
Mm-hmm. A speed camera.
Yeah, Columbo's going to be thinking that's awfully convenient.
But he has to admit there won't be anything else. No more questions at this point.
Yeah, you get some derisive laughter from Hugh and his team as they leave.
Yeah, I think Hugh says the speeding ticket may be the first case that he'll have to lose or will be losing.
Yeah.
So Columbo heads over to the traffic violations office and we get a mini Columbo ID trope.
Yeah, it's a really short scene, serves really to just bump him on to the next spot.
Yep, he's sent across to the company that deals with the production of the photographs from the cameras.
And the ticket seems legitimate. The photograph fits in sequence. It's definitely him in the car.
Yep, the lab guy there says it can't have been tampered with. There's no way that would have been possible.
They even look at the original negative, not just the computer image.
Yep, so Columbo asked for a blow-up of Hugh's picture and 2 or 3 either side in sequence.
Yeah, it's not clear why he's doing that.
Not at this moment in time, it's not, but it will become evident in the final scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dubious.
Very. We do see him spot something, however.
Well, he appears to spot something, yeah.
The lab guy, played by Grant Heslov, born in 1963. Quite a varied and successful career. As an actor, he's been in Leatherheads, The Scorpion King, X-Files, The Birdcage, True Lives, Murder, She Wrote, LA Law, Matlock and Happy Days. As a writer, he wrote The Ides of March, a fairly recent movie.
I like that film. That was George Clooney and
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, yes.
He directed The Men Who Stare at Goats, and as a producer, he produced The Ides of March, The American with George Clooney, Intolerable Cruelty. Was that also George Clooney?
There's a lot of George Clooney here because Men Who Stare at Goats was George Clooney.
Written by John Ronson. And he also produced Argo.
That wasn't George Clooney, that was Ben Affleck.
It was, but that was an Oscar winner, I think, a few years ago.
And Best Picture.
So,
Bit of a down year, to be fair.
Good movie, enjoyed it.
I've not seen it.
Yeah. Oh, well worth it. I think you'd like it.
Right.
So, very distinguished career there.
Absolutely. It all began
Just about.
in Columbo. He and Columbo are heading to Pasadena.
Yes, they're on the street at the speed camera.
Yep, and Columbo's taking down the top of his car.
Apparently for the first time ever. Not the case. He also had the top down in the most dangerous match.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think he's being specific to the guy. I think he's just telling an anecdote.
Just lying.
He's just making conversation.
Columbo's anecdotes are all just lies.
Well, he doesn't reveal anything personal.
No, he doesn't. They're performing an experiment. So Columbo wears a cap, just like Hugh was wearing when he got caught on the camera.
Yeah. Doesn't suit him.
Nope. And then he deliberately speeds by the camera and gets caught.
The guy from the speeding company looks terrified.
Yeah. Because Columbo has to really sort of push the car to the limit to get to the, 30 or 40 miles an hour. And from there, we head over to Hugh's house and the final scene.
Yes.
Columbo shows up.
Trish answers the door.
Yep. They're not happy. They're going out for an evening and they're both getting very irritated by him. But he's invited in. And he has with him the blow-ups of Hugh's picture and the other criminals.
Drivers, yes. He struggles to get their attention.
Eventually he does, and he points out that Hugh's picture lacks a shadow under his nose, and he claims that this proves that it was a mask that someone was wearing, not really him. It was likely that it was Trisha under that mask. A lot of assumptions here, isn't there?
It's kind of dubious as well.
That whole shadow thing I don't think stands up in court at all.
No. I would be very surprised if it did. I also think that a 2D mask wouldn't look the way that photo did. I don't think they used a mask for the photo they took.
Well, it wasn't. We'll see that in a minute. It was a photograph.
Well, you know what I mean? A 2D thing in front of the face. How could she drive? I mean, pinprick holes? I mean, because there's not a big hole in the eyes.
Well, no, I suppose that you only lift that up just as you're passing it and pull it back down. So you don't have
She's
to see.
not holding it in the picture.
Yeah, that's a fair enough point, I suppose. It's not a good.
It's quite contrived, I would
Very
say.
contrived, yeah. But I mean, that's not the gotcha anyway. That's just
In the alibi.
But yes, Hugh rightly calls this ridiculous. Where would he get a mask of himself? Columbo tells him that he can explain, and they head out to the driveway, where he shines a light on his own car. What does it reveal?
There's a person sitting in the driver's seat with what appears to be Columbo's face.
What is the reality?
It is his favourite deputy, the sergeant,
Hughback?
wearing or holding a photograph of Columbo's face in front of her own face, and desperately trying not to corpse while they film the scene, as far as I can tell.
Hugh is rightly still unconvinced, and he says that he still can't be placed at the beach house. But Columbo tells him that Ando's truck can.
Well, that's all very interesting, but you still haven't placed me at the beach house.
Well, the gardener's truck is going to do that, sir.
What gardener's truck?
The gardener's truck that you drove to the beach house and back. You see the glove marks on Miss Edwards' neck? They matched the glove marks on the seat adjustment lever on the truck. This Miss Fairbanks' car?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. Oh, I got a search warrant here to search this windshield wiper well. You know, Mr. Crichton, there's no way you could have known this. But there's only one place in all West Los Angeles that these berries could have come from at this time of the year. And that's on La Mesa. The street of trees that rains berries. Where you parked this car when you stole the gardener's truck. You're under arrest, sir. Suspicion of murder. Thank you, Sergeant. Oh, gee, I almost forgot. Gotta read you your rights, because want to make sure we don't make any mistake.
Surely the whole point of wearing gloves is that it doesn't leave an identifying mark.
Yeah, that's his nonsense. You can match the gloves from the neck to the driver's. Away you go.
Not having it.
Nope.
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Not to mention this thing about the berries.
We'll get to that in the season review, will we?
Yeah, we'll do a curtailed episode review and then a full season review on the end.
Before we do, let's do a little bit of production information.
No, you've not got to the end of the episode yet.
Oh, have I not? Okay.
There's a bit during the end credits where Columbo is sitting in his car with a CD deck from Doty's, listening to Closer, Closer, Your Lips to Mine and singing along as he drives down the street.
Yeah.
Which is new for Columbo, I think, that sort of end piece.
It's fine that they're experimenting, but I don't want to be thinking about Columbo singing along to that type of... He's more like an Sinatra man, isn't he?
Well, I don't know, he seems to know all the words, he sings them.
Yeah. Production information.
Sure.
29th of April 1991 at the 91-minute length. Alan J. Levy is the director again, the second of 3, the first being Uneasy Lies the Crown.
He's been producing in between.
William Reed Woodfield, third and final episode after Guillotine and Columbo Cries a Wolf.
Although he was also a consultant on, was it last week's episode?
Yeah, I think he's still, I think he'll still be quite involved.
Right.
Mentioned the guest stars, didn't really mention Dabney Coleman, but we have mentioned him in the Double Shock episode where he played Detective Murray.
A good actor, I just didn't like the way they did the character. Or at least I should say I didn't love the way they did the character.
Sure. I already covered all the trivia. So, episode review. Motive.
Self-preservation, as it often is.
Be more specific.
He wants to prevent his partner from revealing or creating compromising facts about him for release to the media after they separate.
Yep. So, financial... To prevent financial
well, of course,
loss.
He's got the alternative of paying her off, which he doesn't want to do either.
Yep. And I think we're talking potential criminal jail term, prison sentence, and obviously career ruin.
If what she says is substantiated.
Yep. But like I said, we didn't hear him deny any of that, so...
It was only a really brief exchange. He said something that made her say, "Who will they believe?" But it was kind of a grunt rather than a word. Anyway. Alibi was that he was in Pasadena, driving his car.
Yeah. Don't really... I mean, it's a nice idea. Badly implemented, I think.
It's very well implemented. If you're not buying the shadow thing, then it's a perfect alibi.
Yeah.
The problem is the way that it was revealed. It was too convenient for it to come out in just that way at just that time.
Yeah, fair enough. I just think the concept's right, but you mentioned yourself, how could she have held that mask up?
Yeah, the fact that it couldn't be done, but in the context of the episode where you've got the speeding ticket with that time on it, it's a good alibi.
Sure. Clues. The cork stars, the bottles in the kitchen, the sand markings, the spy camera, Sam Marlowe's confession or information, Trisha's immediate promotion, the killer wearing gloves but leaving bottle prints, the berries, and the faking of the photograph.
I wasn't listening, so I don't know if you missed anything.
I didn't. Probably did.
Okay.
Gotcha. We'll come to that. Or will we come to that? Well, the berries was the gotcha.
The berries was the one that placed him at the scene.
We can discuss in more detail if we think it will hold up in court.
Shortly. Should we do the concept of the season review quickly?
Very quickly.
It's only 3 episodes since we last did one, so folk will remember. Essentially, we're going to look at all the episodes from season 10 and say if there was no confession or if the confession was successfully ruled inadmissible and the suspect had the benefit of an accomplished defence attorney, would they be convicted in this case of murder?
Columbo goes to college.
Yes.
Guilty. They planted the weapon and they were the only ones who would have known where to plant the weapon in the car.
Yeah, and you had so much that only Justin had access to, like the tapes and the fact that he drove the car. I mean, I didn't love the not hearing the car unlock clue, but yeah, the rest of it was fine. Caution, murder can be hazardous to your health.
I am going guilty on this.
Are you? Why?
The hedge has been cut, shows that he has faked the evidence tape.
Well, that proves he wasn't in the production room.
But the porno tape gives fantastic motive.
Yep.
So yeah,
the unsmoked cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it was him, but the tape supposed ties it to him.
Yep, the tape shows he was falsifying an alibi and he had a huge motive to do so.
Now, I think he could be found guilty, and that means that we're going to have a positive ratio for the first time in a while for the season.
Rockstar.
Not guilty.
Same here. You have to assume as well, or you have to take on board the fact that this guy is the world's leading defence lawyer.
Yeah.
So he's going to have great representation no matter what, and he's going to do what he normally does.
Well, the problem you might find is if he gets too personally involved and thinks he can solve it and gets into arguments with his lawyer or something like that. But on the basis that we set this out, you get good representation, everything's done above board.
I think the alibi faking won't stand up in court.
No, you have to prove on a two-dimensional image that there's a second two-dimensional image within the two-dimensional image.
Yeah. The whole shadow thing will be dismissed. It's not strong enough.
Yeah.
We then go to the berries. Now you've got a problem with that as well. Just the fact that apparently there's only one avenue or one street in the whole of Pasadena or wherever it is that has these berries.
And even if there is, all that proves is the car has been on that street at some point.
Precisely.
Doesn't have to be during the murder.
Nope.
So I think he's getting away with this one.
So do I.
Although he is stuck with the woman.
Better than going to jail.
Yeah, unless she confesses in exchange for a pardon of some kind or a free pass.
Yeah, that potentially, but
That's not in the episode, so we can't go with that. Anyway, yes, that makes it 2-1 for Columbo this season, which is a good ratio.
Better than normal.
Absolutely.
In our view.
Yes.
Next week, Death Hits the Jackpot.
Season 11, we're calling it. I know anyone who's watching with the DVD box set will have this as part of season 10, but we're going by the IMDb categorization just to make sure it's not a 15 episode long season 10.
Yeah. Okay, that's us for this week, I think, Ian.
Yeah, just the usual. If you could please rate, review, subscribe on iTunes, because it helps more people find the podcast. And there's a lot of people who love Columbo out there who must not have found the show yet and would like to hear it. We hope. So if you could do that, it would help. And chat to us on Twitter, on Facebook, and on ColumboPodcast.com. The other thing that I was going to say is we talked the last couple of episodes about potentially doing a question and answer episode in the future. Please get your questions and answers into us by any of those methods.
Don't get your answers in, that defeats the purpose.
Well, answers you want explained or questions that you want us to answer.
Sure.
But you can send them to us. Either use the forums at ColumboPodcast.com. On Twitter, we're at Columbo Podcast. Or you can find us on Facebook as well.
That's us.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the Columbo Podcast from Heard Yet Media.